Most people know Kingston for prisons, limestone buildings, Queen's University, and being Canada's first capital. But most people have no idea that Kingston also has a Jewish history stretching back almost 185 years. And since May is Canadian Jewish Heritage Month, here are 5 Jewish Kingstonians I think are worth knowing about. Abraham Nordheimer begins the story. In 1842, there were only around 350 Jews in all of Canada. 2 of them, Abraham Nordheimer and his brother Samuel, became Kingston's first Jewish residents. Abraham arrived from Germany, taught piano, violin, and singing, sold sheet music and instruments, and helped shape Kingston's early musical life. Then the brothers moved on to Toronto, where they built one of Canada's most important music businesses, A&S Nordheimer. They published Canadian compositions, sold instruments, helped bring major performers to Canada, and eventually became famous for their Nordheimer pianos. Abraham also helped lay the foundations for Toronto's Jewish life. In 1849, together with Judah Joseph, he purchased land for what became Toronto's first Jewish cemetery. So, yes, one of the key early builders of Jewish Toronto started his Canadian story right here in Kingston. Simon Oberndorffer turned Kingston into cigar country. He arrived in 1857 from Bavaria after spending years in New York learning the cigar trade. By the late 19th century, Oberndorffer had built one of Kingston's major businesses, a cigar operation with sites on Princess and Ontario Streets. His factory employed nearly 50 workers and produced cigars sold across Ontario, including the Grant cigar, named after his friend, Queen's Principal George Monroe Grant. Grant Hall is named after him. But Simon was more than a businessman. He served as an alderman for city council, he spoke multiple languages, he was known as a Hebrew scholar, and he became one of the patriarchs of Kingston's Jewish community. In 1910, when Kingston's first synagogue was finally built on Queen Street, Simon Oberndorffer was given the honor of laying the cornerstone, and he would go on to be the synagogue's first president. Joseph Abramsky's story begins with a horse and a wagon. He arrived in Kingston in 1890 from Volpa, in what is now Belarus, looking for safety and opportunity, especially dealing with anti-Semitism in Eastern Europe. He started as a peddler, selling dry goods door to door across Frontenac County. But within a generation, the Abramsky family had built a major business operation, a department store on Princess Street. But their real legacy was far bigger than retail. Joseph was a founding member of Kingston's Hebrew congregation, and his son, Harry Abramsky, carried the family's civic and Jewish commitments even further. Harry and his wife Ethel became major philanthropists, supporting Queen's University, Kingston General Hospital, Beth Israel, Queen's Hillel, scholarships, student aid, and countless community causes. The Abramsky family became one of the families particularly generous to Queens, and Abramsky Hall and Abramsky House both still carry their name. Isaac Cohen built an empire out of scrap metal. Born in Lithuania, Cohen came to Kingston in the 1890s and built the Kingston Rag and Metal Company into one of the largest scrap metal firms in Canada. The land surrounding today's Slush Puppy Place was once tied to this industrial world. But Cohen's importance went far beyond business. He served in municipal life, sat on Frontenac County Board of Education, helped found the Kiwanis Club in Kingston, and played a central role in bringing Kingston's Jewish community together. According to one account, when Kingston's 2 early Jewish congregations were divided, Cohen promised that if they united, he would help them build a synagogue. They did, and in 1910, Beth Israel opened on Queen Street. Cohen and his wife Anna were committed Zionists long before the State of Israel existed. Isaac raised funds for Jews in Mandatory Palestine, and Anna helped found Kingston Hadassah. And then there's a story, one of my favorites, which is almost too good not to tell, that during the First World War, Cohen convinced Fort Henry to let interned Jewish prisoners attend Hanukkah services at the synagogue. And then he didn't bring them back. Harvey Rosen brought the story into the modern city. Born in Kingston in 1949, Rosen studied law at Queen's, served in local politics, and became Kingston's 94th mayor. That makes him Kingston's first and still only Jewish mayor. From 2003 to 2010, Rosen helped reshape the city through major civic projects. The Leon Centre, what's now Slush Puppy Place, the Invista Centre, the revitalisation of Market Square, the Grand Theatre renovations, improvements to the wastewater infrastructure, and the KMP Trail. He was someone who got things done. But Rosen's story was also deeply rooted in Jewish Kingston. He served as president of Beth Israel Congregation, and his family's story connected Kingston back to the Jewish communities of Lithuania, many of which were devastated during the Shoah. His life reminds us that Jewish Kingston is not just an old story, it is still part of the city we live in now. And these are only 5 people. Across Kingston, there are stories hidden in old storefronts, demolished synagogues, university buildings, cigar factories, city halls, cemeteries, and streets people walk past every day. This Canadian Jewish Heritage Month, I'm launching Jewish Kingston Walking Tours. The first tour is this Sunday, and I'll be running tours every Sunday throughout the summer. Tickets are available at yostharshish.com/tours.